You have entered the Arcade Cafe. Today, I've served myself a peach Leinenkugels.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Miller Lite again. I was like, stop it. Every fucking week, a Miller Lite. It's a cafe. Shouldn't it be a coffee?
Yeah, but I don't want to drink coffee in the. I mean, we record this in the evening. Ideally, it would be coffee, but there you go. Caleb's doing it right. He's got a Dunkin' in his hands.
It's not actually Dunkin'. It's my wife's cup
Yeah.
I'm using.
We're using a Dunkin' cup. Classy.
It is pretty classy, and it is a pre-made coffee, so I am really it's a stock. So I'm high
doing
end.
it the Walmart way.
I really am.
I am your host, Bryce Yoli, and I'm here with my pal and cousin-in-law and more eloquent co-host, Caleb James. Here in the Arcade Cafe lies a start button size answer to those full-length episodes of Arcade Bookshop. At only about 20 minutes in length, we bring you our current thoughts on our video game progress, our book progress, a little bit of video game news that's probably already a little old, occasional state of the podcast info, our wants, our needs, our private thoughts, our deepest, darkest secrets, and the sweet nothings that Caleb whispers in the bedroom. Let's get down to business. So first thing, I just wanted to let everybody know, I mentioned in the first episode of Arcade Cafe that I was doing a poetry series in addition to Arcade Cafe. I decided not to really go forward with that.
You bailed on it immediately.
Well, no, I was thinking about that like since the beginning of the show, of Arcade Bookshop, and I forgot that one of the reasons I didn't go through with it originally is because I want to talk about like actual published, like famous books of poetry or pieces or whatever, and unless you get approval from the publisher or from the artist, the writer, it's technically a copyright issue to talk about, to like read from it at all. And I don't think you can really talk about poetry without reading the poems.
No, it wouldn't work too well.
Yeah. Caleb thought that I was going to talk about my poetry, and I could do that, but I don't think I would have like an ongoing, like I would run out eventually. And I don't want to talk about poems that I don't have published either. And the majority of them aren't published. So, even though there's a bulk of, or not a bulk, but even though there's like a group of them that are, I would run out pretty quickly. So I don't want to, I'm just going to put that on the side. Maybe I'll come up with something better. But the good news is that I've been rejected like a million more times since the last episode of Arcade Cafe.
That's pretty neat.
Up to 15 rejections now. I think last week I was at like, I think I was only at like 6 or 7 or something, maybe 8. I don't know.
It's a lot in a week's time.
Yeah, I'm doing really bad, but really good to reach my goal for having started submitting again so late. But we both were accepted into separate issues of this thing called, which it's no big deal to announce that, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. The PA Bards?
No, not the PA Bards. We've talked that through.
Oh, okay.
Mini-Mag.
That's big news too. That comes with a poetry reading live on stage.
It does. So
the Benedum this year.
Yeah. But you know, we were accepted into Mini-Mag. It's this.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's not a huge deal, but it's a cool little daily online publication. I think it looks like they published their whole issue on like Instagram. Like, I don't know what you call those story things on Instagram where you can like add a bunch of stories to it.
You can get a PDF of it to download on your phone, because I checked out the last issue and it looks pretty cool. But the story I submitted to that I got accepted. I also submitted elsewhere to Chill Mag, which is a print one, and it's almost like the same thing, but it's a print one, and it's not weekly though. I think it comes out only a couple times a year. I think my story would have been a good fit, and I had a feeling they were probably going to accept it, but then you got rejected like the same, I think it was the same day or right after I got accepted in Mini-Mag, and their thing was that they just ran out of spaces.
Yeah.
Like they filled their quota. So when I withdrew my piece from them, they immediately emailed me back and was like, "Oh, congratulations, and submit again in the future, blah, blah." So I'm thinking I was going to get the generic rejection too.
Yeah. The thing is, like they can say that and they could totally be lying. But that's a really nice way to reject everybody if you want, I guess. Like
We're
you don't have
max capacity.
yeah, we're just always at max capacity. It's like right
I
in the
mean, I
beginning of
guess
the
it's
submission period.
transparent if they're telling the truth, but I don't
Yeah. But they
doesn't
might
make me
not
any
be.
happier because it's like, do you have to submit, like, as soon as it opens to get a chance or
And
what?
it's funny because there are a lot of magazines out there that put themselves on as a magazine that wants to accept more people than most magazines, and I
Yeah.
always get rejected anyway.
Every time. Well, the thing I don't understand is if you do the max capacity thing and that's your rejection, and that means you're not picking the best of what you got, you're just picking until you hit a certain number, and then
Yeah, that's
anything after
true.
that could be amazing, but you're not gonna even read it because that's what your rejection sounded like to me was they didn't read it because they filled up, which is
Right.
fine. I mean, they told you at least, but I'm just
Yeah.
thinking to myself, does that mean like they didn't read it at all and they don't give a shit?
Yeah, I actually didn't think of that, but that's a good point. It's
Because
just
what if
kinda
it was like
lame,
what
but
if your poem was the best thing that they could have put in the magazine? Like, what if
and
it
they
was
just
better
stop
than
reading
everything else? But
after a
yeah, they didn't.
certain
That's
point.
kind of poopy.
That
But
is
it is only two
irritating.
people. I think it's only two people who do that, so I
Yeah, and
understand.
it does look like a cool magazine, so I'll submit again, but there's a lot of little caveat or not caveats, but, like, nuances in these journals and magazines that it's just it adds up and gets frustrating.
Well, it's
But,
easier once you start following them because you could actually catch these early. I don't know when we got
yeah,
their submission thing open, but I think it was near the end anyway.
that's true. But shout out to Minimag anyway, and follow them on Instagram because
Yeah.
you'll find us there, early May sometime. We're in separate issues, but we're both early May. And
I think
on
mine's
the
like May 9th or something, or is that yours?
I
I think
think that's
mine's
mine. I think yours is, like, May 6th or
2nd.
something like 2nd, maybe?
It's like a week before.
Yeah.
Whatever. It'll be
But
out.
on this topic, I have a brand new complaint about the submission process.
Okay.
Um, well, it's just another thing about that magazines like to say in their submission guidelines. Like, recently, it just occurred to me how jacked up it is when they say this. They'll say something like, "We offer and will always offer free submissions." But then later down the page, they basically threaten to reject you by saying, "We strongly encourage you to buy a copy of the magazine before submitting so you know what we like to publish, so as to not waste your time or money on submissions." And it's like, wait a second. You're making sure that you always offer free submissions, but your magazine costs $25 and
Well, I mean,
you're forcing us to buy it.
I just got it rejected again by Driftwood.
Yeah.
In the past, it was for each submission, I think they had a submission fee or you could pay the 15 bucks to get the anthology, and I don't remember what their submission fee was. So I did that a couple times. This time there was no option. It was just buy the anthology for
Yeah.
30 bucks or buy one of their published novels for 30 bucks with your submission. And then I did that and got rejected after a week. And I'm like, fucking never again. I did get the book. It looks kind of cool, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, I think you said never again last time we did that. Didn't we submitted to that twice before, so that was your 3rd time doing that too.
Yeah, and I just fucking spent too much money on them. And I don't even like the publication. That's the thing.
No,
Like
yeah.
I read the
I'm not
stories in their anthology. I didn't like them.
I'm done with that stuff. I have to be I'm monitoring what I'm spending on submissions now. I'm trying not to exceed 25 tops, 20 ideally. I'm
This
trying
was
not to
the
exceed that a
most I've
month.
ever spent now. I had, I think, a 20 or $25 contest I spent on, before, and I just submitted to I don't remember the magazine's like a fantasy journal or, not a journal, I don't know, I forget if they put out books, I forget what they put out, but it's like a bigger one, and it's a $10 fee, but they actually, like they're the one of the I find this with the genre stuff, they actually read and will give you even if it's generic feedback, they'll be like, "Hey, this didn't work for me because it was boring, it was dry, it
Mhm.
was" like, they'll actually give you some feedback versus all these literary reviews, like, most of them is just generic. I every single time I've submitted to a genre one and got rejected, I got some kind of feedback.
Yeah. Well, also when you submit the contests, you're it's gonna be a better response regardless, I think, and they're definitely gonna read that. I mean, you'd think.
It's
It's
unethical
much
if
more
they
likely
don't, but
anyway. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's unethical if a journal charges $3 for a submission fee and they don't read it, or
Mhm.
they, say they read it, but, like, here's what I was wondering. So if you submit 5 poems, let's use the pen review for example, and because they reply in 1 day to usually a week, it says on their site. So if a couple days go by and they say, "Hey, you're rejected," whatever, generic rejection. Did they actually read all 5 of your poems? Did they just read the first one and go, "Meh," or did they skim? I just don't know. I feel like it's just a bunch of interns at these places that don't really care. Like,
Yeah,
you're at the
and
whims of some college kid probably. Like, maybe you'll get lucky and get somebody that actually wants to read something good, and then every other time, though, it's like somebody who's read a million submissions and just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
right, and having been well, we both have been on that end of things where you're reading for a magazine and it's just it all bleeds together because most of it isn't very good.
Yeah.
And at least at least for me, it was that way because mine was an undergrad magazine only. So a lot of it was people that were, mostly teenagers or early 20s, and they even if it was okay, it was still kind of blah.
Mhm.
Um, and you have to like pick the best of the blah. And so if you get into that groove of things, however, the pen review should be getting decent submissions because it has higher I always forget this word,
Notoriety,
something like that.
esteem, I don't
Yeah,
know.
Steam, something like that.
But that
But
also means they get way more submissions,
yeah,
which
but I don't
means you're
know.
gonna get a bunch of poopy ones too, because
And
it's
this
free.
and the one before this last one, I waited like 4 days, and this one I waited like 10 days, something like 9 or 10. And so that was greater than than what they say it's supposed to
Mhm.
take. So you think like they probably got behind and they probably just deleted a bunch, rejected a bunch. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't like that, but it also makes me think, like, especially with your poetry, maybe it would be to your benefit to just write some make you still your style of poetry, but, like, the topic is outlandish or something unusual
yeah,
because that would make it stick out. Because I know if I was reading 1,000 submissions a week, if I got one that was, like, something very odd, even if the
yeah,
poem wasn't as good as some of the other ones, I'd be like, "Hmm, you know what? It's different," and maybe that's what they would look for.
maybe I'll do that next time.
Which could be
I
why
just
we, our complaints about why do these journals and reviews and magazines publish such, like, dookie poems sometimes. It might be because they're just different.
yeah. Well, I'll try it differently next time, I guess. But last rating topic. Diabolic Press, where is our contributor copy?
I wanna hold it up like
I
this.
know.
I
We just
wanna
want it in our hands because it's pretty and you liked our words so much to put
I
it in the
wanna hold
book.
it up like I'm doing with Spencer's book
Yeah,
here.
like this. And where is it? And if
We
by
saw the pictures,
Friday,
that's what kills me. We saw multiple pictures over multiple weeks. I mean, I saw, the guy who's running it, he posted on Instagram not only, the proof copy of the magazine, which looks really cool, but it opened up and showed a picture of my story specifically,
yeah,
so I'm like, "Fuck," and that was over a month ago
yeah.
when he said he's gonna send them out, and then I guess the
Well,
printers took a while, but now took more pictures of the fucking books and then took pictures of the books in the
shipping
contain or, the
packages.
packaging, like,
Yeah.
"I want it, come on."
Well, if by Friday when this episode airs that we have received it, thank you so much, Diabolic Press,
Yeah.
for this sweet first issue of your magazine, and we will do a show and tell next week for when it's actually in our hands.
It looks
Thank you.
really cool, and I wish he would, announce when he's gonna sell it or how much or when,
Yeah,
to
we don't know
where, to
anything
who,
about that.
any
Yeah.
information.
Well, when we find out, we will let you know. Moving on, gaming stuff. So
Games.
I have some bad news first. Um, just the day before we recorded this, Sony Interactive has laid off 8% of their workforce, which equates to 900 employees, closing out the London division entirely and resulting in several canceled games. I don't think they announced any what the games are that were canceled, but an article mentioned Naughty Dog and like the developers a Naughty Dog game and shoot, I forget the other. There were two other developers, but I can't remember. But that's insane and lame. And it's unfortunate that the probably the world economy is so bad that this that Sony and many other game companies have had layoffs in just the last like 6 to 8 months. And it's just like unbelievable that businesses make devastating decisions like this. Like 900 employees.
Well, do you feel like the whole entertainment industry in general is declining rapidly? Because, like, Hollywood is just shit the bed completely. Like, people are not
Yeah,
seeing movies. The movies they do put out more often than not suck now, so that's not helping them any. But, like, comic books are probably gonna go the way of the '90s where there's just a big burst and nobody buys them anymore. I think, well, like you said, the gaming market is not great right now, and that's probably the strongest market out of all the other
yeah,
entertainment, other than maybe streaming shows. I don't know what the numbers on well, I
yeah.
know everything but Netflix is, losing money. Netflix, I think, is the only one that's doing okay. All the rest of
I
them
mean,
are
that's
just terrible.
surprising because I don't even watch Netflix anymore. And the only reason I haven't gotten rid of it is because any of our streaming services really, but mainly Netflix is because my stepdaughter watches it.
Mhm.
And so what we keep all of them because she watches like one thing on every single streaming service. But yeah, I don't even watch that much new stuff anymore. I don't like a
Yep.
lot of the new stuff that comes out. And I would guess that the streaming services are going to be canceled by the majority of the population in the next few years because, I mean, maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a thing where we just get desensitized to the minor adjustments over time, like everything. But it seems to me, I mean, like we're already spending a full cable bill, and
Yeah,
the benefit of streaming
and you get
services
ads now.
before, yeah, the benefit that is one benefit of the streaming services, and also that you could just like have Netflix and pay like $10 a month and have all these shows. But now you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Disney Plus, Paramount, uh, HBO Max. You have all these streaming services, and it adds up to a full cable bill anyway. So unless you decide that, like me, like if I didn't have anybody else watching these things, I would get rid of them all, except Peacock maybe because I like watching The Office. But
That makes
and
you have
my brother
that
pays for that.
that has to make you wonder though, what are people doing for entertainment anymore? Because it used to be I always hear people talk, or even if I just went on Twitter, the trending news, it's always like some show, some movie, but now it's just like things that people hate. Like, oh, Madam Web is terrible. And then it's just
Yeah.
that's what's trending, but it's never things people are watching or reading or enjoying. So it makes me think is like, are we done with any creative output or any kind of entertainment? Is it just now we just work and slave away and nobody's happy?
Well, you know what? And maybe this is just because I'm only recently in the last few months back on social media, but man, it seems like there are a shit ton of new literary magazines right now.
There are a lot, and I haven't decided if that's good or not. Like
Yeah.
on my buddy Matt Holland, he lives over in I don't think maybe Liverpool, somewhere in the UK. Um, he was telling me that because he got published in a couple things, and he was telling me that they have this thriving literary scene that's going like bananas over there. And you could just go out to like pubs and they do poetry readings, story readings, like just everywhere. And this was probably a year or two ago. He was on my DPW podcast talking about it. So I was anticipating at some point it would have to bleed over a little bit to here.
And I
Like,
think
you
it
think at
might.
some point in the US, we'd start to catch up again with
Well,
having more
and
literary things like that.
certain areas they do that regularly. There might even be one in Pittsburgh that we don't really know about, like slam poetry at least. There's a lot of that stuff going on. I don't really
Well,
like
that
that,
White
but
Whale Bookshop always does poetry readings, the one we never got to go to.
yeah. Yeah, they do. I haven't been to that yet, but and
And then
there's
I know you make fun of them for whatever reason, but the PA Bards actually does readings around the state, so
I don't make fun of him.
I don't know why you
I
hate the PA Bards.
I
You're a
do the reading.
two-time PA Bard, but talking shit on them, I don't get it.
No, there's a Pittsburgh City of Asylum does stuff too for I'm not even gonna say who the people are because I'll butcher that and I don't want to offend anybody. but they do special poetry stuff as well. But I do think it's growing, and I think that might be a thing. Like people are getting so like with the cancel culture and everything, which isn't cool, but uh people might be getting just totally fed up with typical entertainment, and they might be finally moving back to
You know what I really hope
literature and
makes a
stuff.
comeback? The
What?
pulp magazines.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe it,
eerie
it
and just
might.
like weird sci-fi, weird horror, like because then that opens up avenues for guys like us to get published and paid for our work
Mhm.
more often and actually get readers. And I think that's what we need. I think we need less literary reviews and more in the
Yeah.
way of the genre stuff for entertainment purposes because that draws the general public in. General public's not reading literary stuff and academic stuff.
Yeah.
Not that there's not a place for that, but when between like if you have the New Yorker or I don't know, say a new Tales from the Crypt anthology comes out, what do you think the general public's gonna pick up
Yeah.
first?
Right. That's true. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And hopefully we'll still be here to talk about it. But you sent me a new game that's coming out this year called Kingmakers. You remember you sending me that?
Oh, that's the one where you go back in time with modern weapons, like
Yeah.
medieval times, but you got guns and
It's
helicopters. It looks fucking awesome.
it does. It's only coming out for PC at first, and I don't think there's a definite release date yet, and it's going to come out for consoles. But the funny thing is, it goes right in line with Kayla's bullshit about
Contra?
about yeah, the Contra guys. Yeah, Caleb's if you haven't listened to our full length episodes, like almost every single game episode, and probably the book episodes too, Caleb makes this joke about uh the Contra guys coming into as anachronisms to old style games and just obliterating the place like Castlevania. So it's like exactly that this game, but obviously like
Like, you know what would spice up the King
contemporary.
Arthur tales?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
A fucking battle where the Contra guys just come in. Everyone's got swords. And they got fucking lasers and machine guns just blasting. That is great.
yeah.
And
It
now
does
you
look
can play
pretty
that.
fucking awesome.
That does
It's
look
yeah,
fun.
it's like medieval times, and you have like futuristic weapons and like yeah, it's snipers and helicopters and shit. It looks hilarious. It's what you've always wanted, Caleb. Um,
It is.
my last bit here, bit of gaming news. Gamers can now smell their video games. We've got
Mm,
smell-o-vision.
smell-o-vision.
I think it's a PC only thing at first again, but I think I might be making that up. But yeah, here, let me pull the article up.
I already know where this is gonna go, and it's not gonna be video games. Like, the future of smell-o-vision is gonna be used for other types of media that does not need smell, and it's gonna be fucking gross.
Yeah, that's not good.
Mm-mm.
No, I lost the article, but
Was it just a
yeah,
box
it's
of
not.
shit and you just like as you play the game? Like, what is that? Like
Yeah,
a
you order the
scratching
game
sniff?
and they ship you dog shit, and you just open it up
No,
and put
not
it next
actual
to your
dog
nose.
shit, just whatever the game's supposed to smell like. Here's grass clippings.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but it sounds. I mean, it sounds pretty wild. It's another dimension to gaming. It's pretty. I mean, if they do it right, it could be pretty cool. Although it just sounds like like a Futurama joke, but
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out. Since we're already at 24 minutes, are you reading anything cool?
I'm finishing up Don Quixote, and I forgot how fucking good that book was.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
like 200 pages, I think, away from being done with it.
nice. And you're playing Sea of Stars regularly.
Yeah, you interrupted that earlier. It's a lot of fun. And I just noticed, which I would love to be able to get in on if I could find a game that's on either Kickstarter or Patreon or something that's in development. Sea of Stars has The Crypt, and it's basically, I'm assuming, I didn't look it up, but I'm assuming it's just everybody who gave money to the game
Yeah,
and they get to have their own little tombstones or statues or just like it gets pretty fucking cool. And I think you can save them, like if you're the person who, you know, gave money and you have a monument.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty awesome. I noticed that. I figured out what that was like after I beat the game. It's pretty cool.
I'm assuming that's what that is. I just guessed because I've seen other
Yeah,
games do that.
yeah. No, that is what it is. I just beat Return of the Obra
Oberdin.
which was amazing. I'll talk more about that because we're doing an actual episode on that later on. But so good, absolute amazing brain teaser. Music is great. You'll hate it the first couple hours, but fuck, that was a great game. And I am reading Player Piano by Kurt Vonnegut, also for a future episode.
What game are we pairing with that?
Stray.
A cat game?
Yeah.
Forget what that is.
It's a futuristic thing where
I'm not going to do either of them. I'm going to play the game. I'm not going to read the book.
You got to read the book. It's a worthwhile read.
I was planning on reading the book until you said I have to read it for homework. Now I don't want to.
It is frustrating. I get so excited about reading this new stuff, but having a timeline on it really fucks with the enjoyment of it. Like,
well, the problem is I'm a mood reader, so if I'm not in the mood, even if it's something I really want to read, it's going to be a slog.
Yeah.
Like if I get in the mood for, like, say, I get the inkling to reread The Lord of the Rings, I'm fucking gun ho. But if you're like, hey, let's read Lord of the Rings for the podcast, and I don't feel like it, I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, I'm not enjoying this because I didn't want to do this.
And again, that's why these episodes are bi-weekly, because if they were weekly, that would be fucking miserable. We wouldn't enjoy any of this stuff. I don't even think I could do it. But
I'll just crib notes, just spark notes.
And we have another guest coming up sometime in the next month or so, and he wants to play. He wants to talk about The Last of Us, and neither of us you haven't played it yet, right?
No, nor have I watched was it a movie, a show?
I think. So
it's like an Indiana Jones knockoff or something, Tomb Raider knockoff.
No, it's like zombies.
Zombies. Oh, I'm definitely
Last of Us.
I thought Tom Holland played it in the movie.
That's Uncharted.
Different. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I'm thinking Uncharted.
Yeah, no, Last of Us. It's supposed to be. I didn't play it when it came out because, like you just said, zombies is a turnoff to me because it came out like when zombies were already oversaturated, and I was like, eh. But apparently, it's really, really good. So I do want to play it, but I'm in such a mood to play Final Fantasy VII Remake because I actually have PS Plus Premium, so it's free, and Rebirth is coming out like this week or next week or something. And I just really want to. I haven't done anything Final Fantasy VII related. I don't know, probably since high school. I started playing it yesterday, and I just want to dive into that. So hopefully our guests can understand if maybe we just don't have our maybe we do that interview like a month or so from now. But
yeah, good luck scheduling that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not an easy guy to schedule things with because he's in a different country and he's always flying around the world.
That's fine. I mean, if we have to like put it off a while, I'm cool with that. I'm really looking forward to it. Just time wise, like I just really want to be able to play what I want to play and read what I want to read and stuff. Caleb's holding his kitty.
Yeah, he's a good kitty.
All right. Well, last thing for anyone who's listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or audio only anywhere, just so you know, we do have video for most of our episodes. Well, not most of our episodes, but going forward, all of the Arcade Cafe episodes and most of the future Arcade Bookshop episodes will be full video. So you can find that on YouTube for now until I figure out a way to make it go on Spotify and whatever. So
I don't think anybody watches the videos on Spotify though.
Well, I watch the videos for Ninjas or Butterflies. I like watching.
You're the one guy who does that because I remember
it makes a difference.
Whatever. Do it. Go do it. Do it. Make it on Spotify and the two people use it can watch.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody really looks at the YouTube videos that I make. So if it can go on Spotify, I would just like that because I'm making video.
Yeah, you might as well just get it out everywhere you can. If you're don't jump into the ring light, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are over time.
Yeah, it's cool. I just want to put that out there. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You have just spent some time in the Arcade Cafe, and I hope it was lovely and you enjoyed your time and you got to wind down with us and
a fast 15 minutes like Bryce
enjoy
promised.
a beverage. I'm Bryce Yoli with my pal and cousin-in-law Caleb James, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.